Germany's armed forces are withdrawing their troops fully from Niger. Negotiations with the ruling junta broke down earlier this year. Niger, which is in West Africa, was a key base for Western nations trying to contain terrorism in the Sahel. Around 100 German troops had been stationed there and established a mission to train Nigerian forces. Chancellor Olaf Scholz traveled to Niger in 2022 to monitor progress and to hold talks with the president. But the cooperation fell apart when Niger's army seized control in a coup last year. Well, more now from DW's political correspondent Simon Young here in Berlin, and from DW's correspondent Christine Mundwa, who joins me from Lagos. Good to see both of you. Simon, let me start with you. Why was the Bundeswehr, the German military, in Niger? I mean, what was their most important mission?
Yeah, Brent, this Bundeswehr mission has been through a number of phases, but it began in 2016 when the Germans set up a supply base in Niger, which was really there to provide logistic support for their operations in neighbouring Mali. In particular, the German role as part of the United Nations MINUSMA stabilization mission for Mali. But that came to an end in 2023. Since then, this base was really used as a sort of evacuation pathway for Western troops out of Mali. They have also had some sort of cooperation and training role as well in Niger itself, but that was essentially what they were doing there.
And Simon, why did they have to leave the country so quickly?
Yeah, the specific reason is that there was the contract, the agreement that determines the conditions under which German troops can operate in Niger runs out at the end of August, and they say there's no time to negotiate a new one. But really, all this is to do with what you already mentioned, the military coup in Niger in 2023. Since then, things have very significantly changed. In particular, that military government is looking much more towards non-Western allies, in particular Russia, for its support. It's become much more difficult for Western countries to operate there. The French have left. The United States military has also pulled back recently. So the whole foundation of Germany's role in Niger has really changed.
Christine, Germany's withdrawal from Niger is part of a wider story of the West losing ground in West Africa and the Sahel. What are the implications of this in the region?
Well, Brent, it's had a destabilizing effect in the sense that where we've had these coups in Niger, in Mali and Burkina Faso, what has followed is the West being kicked out or pulling back, and then the Russians filling that vacuum. And what that's done is sour diplomatic relations between neighbors who are now essentially camped into groups of those who are backed by Russia and those that remain firmly in the Western camp. For example, here in the region, there is the body ECOWAS, where the three countries in question, Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, have left and formed their own alliance. So we have a situation now where countries that were neighbors are essentially almost becoming enemies. Remember, there was the threat of military intervention by ECOWAS into Niger as a result of that coup last year.
Yeah, I remember that. And Christine, let's talk about Russia. It appears to be benefiting from the withdrawal of Western countries, as Simon was mentioning. How is Russia filling the vacuum that the West is leaving?
Well, we're seeing Russia deepen security ties with these countries in question in the region. We know that Russia is providing the security for the junta elites in these countries. The Sahel, West Africa, happens to really be the epicenter, if I can call it that, of global terrorism. You have various groups linked to ISIS and Al-Qaeda operating in these countries. The Russians have joined forces with the juntas in these respective countries to fight these groups as well as separatist groups. There's also something in it for Russia, Brent, in the sense that this is a region that is got vast deposits of mineral resources. I'm talking gold and other resources that, of course, Russia will then be benefiting from as it deepens its partnerships and alliances with these countries in the realm of security.
And Simon, I'll just pick up on what Christine said there. Has Germany's Sahel policy, has it failed?
Well, Brent, I think you certainly could argue that in the sense that, in particular, the limited German military presence in countries like Mali and Niger was often perceived as bringing little real benefit on the ground there. Islamist insurgencies continue. We've got this swing towards Russia. Instability remains, and the Bundeswehr spent much of its time sort of protecting itself rather than helping local people. On the other hand, development assistance will continue, and also limited sort of technical things like medical support and legal training assistance and so on. Those things will go on, and I think those too are part of the slow work of building better relationships across the region.
Simon Young in Berlin and Christine Mundwa in Lagos. To both of you, thank you.